Welcome to the Great Loop Aboard the Perch. I'm Kim Russo with America's Great Loop Cruisers Association, and this is leg 81 of our Great Loop adventure. Today we're going from Coffeeville to an anchorage on the Tensaw River. So that's a view of Bobby's Fish Camp as we were pulling out as the sun was rising. A few other looper boats who had tied up there overnight were with us, and very shortly after leaving Bobby's, where you can also get fuel, you will come to the Coffeeville Lock. This is the very last lock on the Tenn-Tom, so the last lock on the river system. The next locks on the Great Loop route depends on some of your route choices, but if you're going to take the Okeechobee from the Fort Myers area over to Stewart, those would be your next locks. If you're going through the Keys, you won't encounter another lock on the Great Loop until at least the Dismal Swamp Canal, which takes you towards Chesapeake Bay. That's also an optional route. So the next lock that all loopers will go through is not until Troy, New York on the Hudson River, where there's the Federal Lock. So kind of a momentous thing to be leaving this lock. This is actually the last lock on my Great Loop, since I will cross my wake in Fort Myers. And another boat that was in the lock with us, Phil and Wild, also started from that area, and they also mentioned to the lockmaster that this was the last of 130-something locks they had gone through, and felt it like it was one of the best, so the lockmaster appreciated that and got a little chuckle from that. This is a very curvy, windy part of the river. This is actually the last full day on the river system. We're going to stop for the night at the Tensaw River anchorage, and the next day we'll arrive in Mobile Bay. But that's some old, dilapidated industrial hardware that's kind of left there in the river that was interesting to see as we were going by. And one bridge along the way did not have to have that moved for us. We were able to just continue right along. As I said, this is the last full day on the river system. After the anchorage tonight, we will be heading into Mobile Bay tomorrow. This is actually the 20th leg of the river system. I'm sorry, this is the 19th. Tomorrow will be the 20th, and it's about 1,000 miles, a little bit more than that, from Chicago down to Mobile. So it's a pretty long leg, a pretty desolate leg. Most of the beauty is the natural beauty that you'll find all around you on the river system, but it's very different cruising than we saw on the Great Lakes, that's for sure. And you can see some of the curves in the route here, just continuing to make those S-turns, and you can see in the video the boats following each other, and again, water's still low, so there's lots of sandy banks there that you can see along the way. But lots of extra miles thanks to all of these twists and turns, but it really makes for some beautiful cruising. We haven't seen winding rivers like this probably since the low country of South Carolina, which is our home water. So it was kind of a familiar feeling to be winding our way through this path. And we would be approaching at this point, getting fairly close to the confluence of the Tensaw River with the Tombigbee River that we're on. The Tensaw River is pretty wide. I'm not sure exactly how far it is navigable, but it is a good anchorage because it just gives you some room to pull off of the busier Tombigbee River, where you do encounter barges and tows that are being pushed along. So the Tensaw River is a really good choice for an anchorage because a lot of boats can fit in there, and its holding was great. So coming up right here in the video is where you will kind of take a turn to port. Tombigbee River, you could see there forked over towards the starboard, and we anchored with 3 other looper boats in the area. We actually rafted with Phil and Wild, and the other 2 were just a little bit further up the Tensaw than we were. You can see them there. And as I said, wide anchorage, sweeping views, beautiful sunset. So it was just a lovely evening on the hook, and we were thankful to be enjoying this peaceful time with friends on the waterway. This is a look at our Nebo log for the day. We left, we had about 8 hours underway. We went about 72 miles, averaged about 9 knots, and our maximum speed was 11 knots. And there is another look at our path southward. You can see those twists and turns in the river that we showed on the video and the Google Earth view. And you can see we had a couple of points there where we were going a little faster than others, but that is about it. Thank you for watching. We'll be back soon with our next leg, which will take us into Mobile Bay. We'll see you soon.